You saw some pictures. For those who don't know, we had a shchit. We have to start.
In real life, in the Sheikh's Lantais,
In a second.
right off.
In a second. Everything's in a second. The whole filleted with
Where
it.
is the Lantais here in Israel?
I don't know. We do it in France. Just thank you again, everybody.
We're not gonna make this one.
Some of us didn't go home until 12:30. There's a very interesting phenomena that we learned last night. After we did sponja, the blood reappears. So we did sponge again, it reappeared. So Yeshua was there, it was like a joke. We stood there to see, and there's no blood. A minute later, it comes right back. We don't know what it is. It's a magic thing. Now there's a lot of blood all over Pushim. We thought that we left it clean.
Maybe some of the
Inside.
blood. Maybe some of the old blood. All the old blood in the floor comes out every time there's new blood. It brings out the old blood.
All right.
Because you gotta know
All right, Shmuel.
it's buried underneath the floor over there. It's like the base of Mikdash, the blood boils, the bubbles.
Let's go. We got it. Hey, sorry, everybody. We're gonna get this going. Omer Shmuel is shown. Everybody's excited. It's amazing. Omer Shmuel is bashal bo, aber nitzla bo, koilev va'oichel at shemegia l'gid. We learned in the Mishnah that a gid in part 2, then the entire thigh becomes usr. If it gives flavor, how much? It says kibasar belefes, like meat gives flavor to a turnip. We said yesterday 60. He's talking like Taisvus and other Rishonim. There's others that say a little different. If it's not 1 in 60, then it's cooked in liquid. And it's a situation where the flavor of the git travels throughout the whole thigh. Was roasted, then the roasting causes it to shrivel up and lock in all the flavor. So what do? You peel the leg and then you just remove the gid, but you have to peel in order to get to there. That you were asking yesterday, what's this koilef? Here, you understand what koilef means. In order to get to the gid is deep inside somewhere. So you have to pull it out. You peeled everything. But what does it say? So if you read it, the simple word is you remove the gid. As simple as you think. Remove a small, thin layer of the gid because the gid touched something. You're right that the flavor doesn't travel everywhere, but it travels meat. So take off a little bit kiklipa or kidei netila. What's kidei netila? So now we learned the new halacha. Netila means etzba. Fine, finger bread. What are you telling me that if you roast something it lacks in the flavor? It says mafurish over here that if you roast something the feed away from this fat. Rashi says, what fat are we talking about? I'm not exactly sure why he says that, but he says it in the sugya. We're talking about the fat of the kidney, and the kidney is over here, and it travels from here to his wherever it is, and it travels all the way to his ear. Okay. What are you showing? That there's nobody there? Oh, what time it is? He's big into his clock. I'm not sure what's going on here with his clock. Says the Gemara. Now we're holding on today's daf. So you have chaylev, you have oil. The oil could travel, but a gid hanasha doesn't travel. The flavor of the gid hanasha just stays in there. Ubechaylev asur. You tell me that the fat travels. There was a story in the shul of Moin. The same story that we have over here. That you have a goat. Oh, really? Maybe it's broken. How about now?
Someone on one of your million viewers said it. Read.
No, the problem is because if it's plugged in, then there's zero sound.
It said it's better.
Yeah?
But look at this.
It's better. Okay, shkoyach. It was a little loose. This was loose. No, now it's good. It's good. Okay, so there's a story there, Rabbi Yochanan. The same story. You had a goat roasted in fat. We just said fat is usher because it travels everywhere.
So
And now-
it was the fat. It was the usher fat that it was.
Yeah. Let's say it's talking about the fat of a kidney still.
Yes.
And it says,
How is it
he says, one second, he says that the fat is not usher. It doesn't go to the ear. It doesn't even go 5 inches away. All it goes is to a millimeter away or 1 finger breadth away. But it doesn't travel. But that's fat. A second ago you said fat travels everywhere. Just to get that usher, it doesn't travel. So we have 3 pirush on what's going on here. Ravuna Bar Yudah Mar Kulyob. Oh, sorry. I didn't bring a picture. I had a geshmak of pictures online on the 8-minute video of a really skinny goat, like mamish, like you could see the bones and everything. So if you have a skinny goat where it has very little fat, so the fat doesn't travel, it doesn't have enough to travel. Tosfos points out here another pshat in Tosfos is that then it becomes batal b'shishim. It has so little fat that it's 1 in 60. Ravuna bar Yehuda Amar Kulya b'Chabahava v'Sharya. Oh, shmak. We're talking about a kidney, and the kidney has fat above. Now, going back to last night, amazing. We're already using what we learned last night. Here's a picture of last night. Here he is holding a kidney, that thing that looks exactly like a bean. Amazing. What color was it, Rabbi Isai? Brown. Brown. Look in the picture. What color is this right over here? It's like white gray. Why? Because there's a tiny membrane that's above the kidney. And once he removed that, then it turned like a nice bean, a brown bean. Says the Gemara, above that membrane, there's the chaylev of the kidney. The chaylev of the kidney can't get there. The pasha can't get there. It's murder. You were there for this part?
It all looked the same at some point.
You remember it had like the string? You like the string. I remember Noam liked the string.
The string was and the fat piece that covered the whole thing that came right off, that a big fat.
Ooh, the chaylev amachas is a kerev, like a
whole blanket.
and we learned about it. They cover the head with it, but it comes up easy, just mash easy. It feels right
And I
off.
love the fact that it was just.
And he explained that blanket, that's why that blanket can't cover a hole, a puncture, because it just moves. It's one of these moving blankets, whereas the other fats are stationary, so they do plug up holes. We learned that. It's all. The shaila was, is it good that we waited until now and we have everything behind us and then we did the presentation, or the presentation should have been before? Like this.
Much better now.
Okay, fine. That's what most people said then. Everybody said then. I wasn't sure that they were right, but I listened to everybody. Fine. Ravin bar Rav Omar Kilkilis Bilbos Hava. So Ravin says, well, the whole story of the Rabbi Yochanan is different than what you think. It's not that there was a goat. We're not talking about a goat. Somehow he had a Messiah from his Rebbe that the story of the Rabbi Yochanan had nothing to do with the goat and fat. It had to do everything with a fish falling to a pot of meat, says Rashi. Now, just real quickly, why a pot of meat? Rashi says a fish, tame fish, also fish, like a shellfish, let's say, fell into a pot of chullin. Why can't Rashi just say a tame fish fell into a pot of tuna? Fish and fish. So the way they explain it, and other Rishonim do say that it's talking about fish that's tame fell into a pot of fish. That's if you look at Rashi says shel basar. He's very makbid to say basar, Rashi. And the answer is because according to Rashi, fish and fish is min b'minoi. So even if you have tuna and you have swordfish, they taste the same basically. I'm not sure why, but Rashi says that you wouldn't be able to. It would be considered halachically min b'minoi, and therefore it comes. Rashi, somebody has to explain it to me later. What?
It wouldn't be nice with Tom.
I think it would personally. I think all fish has different. I think tilapia tastes different than tuna and salmon
But maybe not when
and
you're
gefilte
cooking it.
fish. So I don't know. But Rashi holds it's min b'minoi. So therefore Rashi says, but it's very different than meat. So if you could taste the flavor of the fish in the meat, then it's asur, and if you can't taste it, it's mutter.
Keves and basar from the mino according to keves and para.
I don't know. That's exactly my question. Exactly what you're saying.
That's very different.
And not only that, we'll see soon that fruit is minch b'she'ene minoi. An apple and an orange are two different things. I would say keves is minch b'she'ene minoi. I mean, it has a very distinctive taste. Very different.
They do say that they have to use them tuners because they could be using shark, and shark has facilities.
Okay, I'm not saying all fish are different. I'm saying some fish are different. And why can't, especially a tummy fish, should be tasting different than a kosher fish? I don't know. I never. Okay, tuna and other tuna, fine. Tuna and other big fish.
That swam is very nice.
Shark?
Says the Gemara. And here comes a big chiddush, a big bombshell from Rabbi Yochanan for the entire sugya. They asked Rabbi Yochanan what to do because this fish, tummy fish, fell into a pot of meat. What do you do? V'amar litame kapilo arma. So he comes with the chiddush and he says, give it to a guy that's a professional. Give it to a chef that understands taste.
He doesn't taste
Points out Rashi on the spot that you can't tell the guy, hey, I have a halachic shaila here. I'm not sure if this is kosher or not. I need your expertise to tell me, does this taste like swordfish? Because then what is he going to do? He's going to tell you, yeah, it's fine. It's good. He's going to fool you. So what you need to do is you go to the guy and say, no, you like my recipe? And he goes, oh, tastes like swordfish. Then you have to be mesech levitumai, says Rashi. You have to just stick it in somehow, but not tell him specifically you're asking him a shaila.
Why is that?
Because he won't be truthful with you. Although Tosfos says over here, if you look at Tosfos says that he won't lie. Because Tosfos samchino akapilo, samchinan akapilo, Tosfos says, loy mishaker, shelo yafsidu mnasa, he's worried he's going to lose his job. Okay. As a reputation, we had this already before now, with the zara of reputation, etc. So based on this, that you could trust a guy with taste when you have a big issue. Oh, I missed this Tosfos over here. There's a Geshmak of Tosfos before that says by Shani Chaylev Dimfapeya. So we have the problem that is that the Gid HaNosha itself has. I just want to go back because the Tosfos is a very interesting thing. The Gid HaNosha, as we know, has this piece of fat over it. The Chaylev on the Gid HaNosha that we spoke about a lot, and with the Rabban and Tzasser, it's like the Gid, and we have to be careful with it. So as Tosfos, if you're telling me that Chaylev is mifapeya, Chaylev travels through the body, so how come the Chaylev of the Gid HaNosha, you're telling me that the roasting locks in a Gid HaNosha, but it doesn't lock in Chaylev. Okay, but the Gid HaNosha has Chaylev, so it shouldn't be able to lock in that Chaylev, and that Chaylev should travel in an Aser, the whole thigh. Very good kasha.
It's different.
It is. Okay, so that's what Tosfos says, but Tosfos says better. Tosfos says that it's not.
Not the same.
Well, what do you is
It's
real?
it's a thinner type of fat. It doesn't travel.
Okay, where do you see that in Tosfos? Yeah, he says that. Rabbeinu Tam says that. You're right. And then Rabbeinu Meir says a line later. Rabbeinu Meir says that it's like almost like Dayad Lovim Min Adin Lias Kenidain. The Gid HaNosha doesn't travel, so you can't say that the fat that comes because of the Gid HaNosha would be worse than the father himself and travel and create issues. Like, I don't know if that's the proper Hagdar, but that's how no, it's for sure not the right terminology. That's how I saw it. Like, called the Takon Rabbanon Kain der Reise Takon. You know what I'm saying? It's like based on the Gid, so the Chaylev of that can't be any worse. Okay, let's go back to our sugya. Omer Rav. I had a problem, says Rav in the beginning. We know, obviously, this is the famous halach of basar b'chalav. We all have two types of dishes. You cannot cook milk in a pot that had meat in it that absorbed the meat. And if you did cook milk by mistake, then you see if the milk has a flavor of meat. Now the question is, how do you know if it has a flavor of meat? Based on what Rabbi Yochanan just said, it's easy. You give it to the guy to taste. Truma lo yevashel b'chulin. if you have a pot that you cooked truma fruit in it, and only a kohen could eat truma, you're not allowed to cook chulin, because then Yisrael won't be able to eat it. Vim bishel, ben nois and tam. Again, how do you tell? That's easy. Then that you give it to a kohen.
Give it to kohen.
Bishloim and truma, time like kohen. That I understand. I could have a kohen. I could be soymech on a Jew. Elabasa b'chalav man time like. Hashadam Rabbi Yochanan. Samchin and kapilo arma. I could trust the guy. Achanami samchin and kapilo arma. I could trust the guy, and with what Rashi said that Mesich Levitumai, not 100% trust. You let him talk on his own. The Omar Rava, and Rava said, Omar Rabbanan b'taima of Omar Rabbanan b'kapila. So now Rava just goes through the three ways. You have taste, and you have a goy, and what's the third thing? Omar Rabbanan b'shishim. So if we just go over Balpeh, without looking in the Gemara, we have a taste. You could taste it yourself. How could a Jew taste something that's asur? Talking about that's only asur for some Jews. The Yisraelim. It's chulin and truma mixer, so that you give a Jew to taste. Then you have something, what? A kohen. Yeah, you give a kohen. Then you have something that a Jew cannot taste, no Jew, that is basa b'chalav. So who do you let taste? The goy. Then you have something that nobody can taste, even a goy can't taste. Why can't he taste it? Because it physically doesn't taste different. Such as treif meat and kosher meat, a nevila in a des. Or maybe a gid in our sugya, according to our shita, the gid with the thigh. So then what do? Then you go to batal b'shishim. Then you just look at the ratio. What is the ratio? Says the Gemara. You'll go. Min b'sheinu minoy de teira. If you could eat it, in other words, the kohen could eat b'taima. The surah b'kapila. If it's a bas v'chalav, you give it to the guy. Or min b'minoy the lekel emekam b'taima. There's nobody that could actually taste the difference. Inami min b'sheinu minoy the surah the lekel kapila. You don't have a guy available. B'shishim. Says the no, I don't think so.
No, you can't. It's not the Seder. It's two different. It's two different.
I don't know that you have to go in that Seder. So the Gemara. Hanu at mahaso de milichu beireish goluso begidon eshayo. So now we're talking about milicha. If you salt a piece of meat, is it considered like cooking it? Cooking, we said, is a problem for Gid Anasha. It travels through the thigh, and roasting is not a problem. Roasting locks it in. What is salting? Is it cooking or is it roasting? Which one is it? Rabbeinu Asar. What? The thigh. Rabbeinu Asar Ravacha bar Ravashi Shori. Asar Shailu Lamar bar Ravashi. So they asked the son of Ravashi. Omerlu Abba Shori. Ravashi, my father said it's mutter. Omer Ravacha bar Ravina. Why do you say that it's also? You say that salting is like boiling. So it's like cooking.
It is cooking.
But it's not. Kavush, and it says Shmuel. So these are Shmuel's words. Meliach, salting is like boiling. Kavush, pickling is like cooking. So what does Reiteach mean? If Shmuel meant that both of them are the same, both of them are cooking, so you should have said salting and pickling equals cooking. He didn't say that. He said salting equals boiling. Pickling equals cooking. In other words, boiling and cooking are two separate things. Boiling, we know what cooking is. Cooking means to cook in water in a pot, and that travels. We don't know what boiling means. What is the word boiling? L'chaira says the Gemara, boiling doesn't mean cooking. Boiling would mean roasting. It has a halacha of roasting. Shmuel himself says that there's a difference between cooking, but roasting is different. And if you're going to tell me that boiling means cooking, but he says a second later that pickling is cooking. Obviously, he used a different lashon, and he didn't mean that it's cooking. He meant that salting is equal to roasting. And if it's equal to roasting, then the flavor of the gid does not travel through salt. Yeah, too complicated? What is salting? There's only two options. Either it has the halacha of cooking in water, and cooking in water, we said, all the flavor travels, spreads everywhere, or salting has the halacha of roasting, and roasting doesn't travel. Shmuel says two interesting lashonas. If you were Shmuel and you're describing salting and pickling, what would you do? You'd lump them up in one and say halacha at that. You'd say salting and pickling is just like you cooked it. But he doesn't say that. He says pickling is like you cooked it. And what is salting? It's boiling. Obviously, boiling does not equal cooking. Otherwise, he would say at the end, they're both cooking. He doesn't say that. He uses two separate words. He says salting is boiling and pickling is cooking. So we must say that when he says salting is boiling, he means salting is like roasting. And roasting, it doesn't travel. And then he says a second later, but pickling is cooking, because pickling does travel.
Is the difference that pickling, you actually have it in the liquid?
I don't know if that's the difference. I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying scientifically, he's saying it doesn't make it doesn't make flavors travel.
Because
Yeah, but even though there's liquid, but I could argue with you that when you boil it on the oven, the liquids are constantly moving, they're rotating, and all the flavors are traveling through everything. And pickle just sits like a klutz. It is in liquid, but it sits.
Also 24 hours.
right?
Pickle doesn't have it.
When do they take out the get a nut then?
What do you mean,
Before or
when?
after they pickle?
24 hours.
And then before the after they salt.
Stronger, my argument.
And they salt the meat.
I think before. Ask him. Moshe, when did they take out the Gida Nasha? Before they salt or after they salt?
No,
But if they do nikur, before.
And on a sheep,
Before.
a sheep we take out, we eat the hindquarters.
No, you left at 9:30.
No, well, he didn't know either. What,
You're not allowed. You know the OU says it's usher, and in America it's illegal.
What?
It's illegal to call the hindquarters kosher. He said. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And the OU passing said it's usher. I'm just saying what he said. But Hillel wasn't there, and Hillel wasn't there to argue. I made him repeat it just for you. Don't ask. But he's still not. What? Yeah, because if that's your minhag, if that's your makom, it goes by makom, not by minhag. He said it has nothing to do with Ashkenazi and Sephardi. It has to do with the place, the makom. So if the makom, the city, whatever does it, then you can eat it. Mahmoud does it, and he says he himself ate it when he knew the guy and he saw the guy doing it, and he relied on the guy. He says we can't. The only people that actually do nikur are the rabbanut, because the badatz doesn't even have a messiah for nikur at all. So you have to rely.
There are other people that do the other minhag that do it also. I said there's Taimani, there's Barakah.
By the way, if you seriously want meat, if you want meat that's a chori and it's a good guy that's minaker, I don't know him personally, but I would rely on him because he's my chavrusa's brother-in-law and he relies on him. Yedidya Kramer's brother-in-law does it privately, so he'll do the nikur for you private, and you get a serious piece of meat.
Yedidya relies on him?
Yeah, he eats it. Oh, I don't know if he eats the chori, but I'm sure he relies. I'm saying he relies on his hechsher and everything else. He says he's a Yerushalayim, etc. He knows what he's doing. He's chefs for Chaim Kanievsky. So if you want, seriously, go to. It can't be any better. You're not getting from a whole, from a factory of meat. You're getting one piece. He gets one cow and he shechs.
That was different than a few days ago where you said you should eat it.
No, in a restaurant, you walk into any restaurant, lechem basar, you don't know. That's different. I didn't say. First of all, I wasn't telling you. I was just.
Who's paid? 1 second.
Listen, I was in a restaurant, and there was a bunch of Hasidim there eating meat, and I went over them and I said, by the way, I don't know if you're aware, but the meat that you're eating now is the hind quarter. And they go, oy vey, but we ordered already. Okay. And they went back there.
That's what's fun.
Ma'aser Shahaya. This is 100% true story. My wife was there. Yes. Okay, but I'm just saying, Americans don't know. No, it was in the shuk. It had a decent hechsher. It was in the shuk.
Nothing in the shuk is a decent.
No, this one place that has Crave or something. I don't know. Not Crave. And that is a famous place. It has a decent hechsher.
Crave does not have a good hechsher.
What about that?
What? Lechem Basar, the Senator, it's all achori. But it says in Lechem Basar, it says in the menu, it tells you that this is the people that don't care about this thing. And I actually had, it was the best steak I ever had, and I didn't realize then. It was the best steak I had in Israel, and it turns out it's filet mignon ma'achori, yeah. What? I don't know, machpot or something, because machpot takes it out. Machpot does nikur. Yeah. All right. The point that I wasn't telling you, Hillel, what to do. I said Americans are not aware that there's even such a thing as hindquarters. It's kosher. It has a stamp on it. It's kosher. What's the difference, front or back? So you should just know there is a difference. You're not makbid the gesundheit. This place hundreds of years, and he explained that. You know what he explained also? He said that the places that do nikur, it was because they didn't have goyim to sell it to. So they couldn't incur the loss of the whole hindquarter, so they decided to do nikur. And places that didn't do nikur is because they had the goy to sell it to.
That's why they were able to keep the Masorah.
Yeah.
Kabbalah.
Okay.
What comes out of me with all the thing when I saw? What
do you mean?
Shiloh, salty.
Oh, listen here. We're coming here. And says the Gemara, we missed the main point here, the main word, one word, kasha. It's actually bam kasha on you, Ravina, who says that it's usher to eat that the salt is able to have the flavor travel throughout the whole thigh. It's not true. You see from Shmuel that there's a difference. Salting is at most roasting, and roasting doesn't impart the flavor to the whole thigh. Kasha, it's a very good kasha. When you're talking about 1 in 60, Misharin, so you have a pot, and in the pot you have something that's osir. You have 1 kazais osir. So what do you need? You need 60 kazaisim against it to make it mutter. How do you get 60 kazaisim? What's the formula? Says the Gemara, Misharim beroitiv ubakifa ubachatichos ubagdera. There's 4 components here. You could use all the liquid in the pot. You could use all the big pieces, obviously. That's what we all think of as when you're doing bitul b'shishim, batul b'shishim. Bitul? No, that's chatichos. Kippah is the sediments, the smaller pieces. So b'kitzur, everything in the pot goes. The juices, the spices, everything. And here's the kicker, ubagdera. And the pot itself. Now what does that mean? Some people say the actual pot. So if you have one of those Nachum Zilberman Chullin pots, that's 50 liters and it weighs 100 pounds. So you're butter b'shishim without anything in the pot. You're already whatever you put in there is butter b'shishim. And Taisus says that it's very hard to understand, and therefore he says it's talking about only in a situation where it's you're talking about the belia. The belia is asur, so the belia in the pot could counteract it. But if you have something, how can you put a piece of treif meat in a pot and say, oh, the pot is bigger than it and it's mevatel it? That can't be. So then you could just eat treif.
The taste of it gets,
That's being
gets
mevatel
spread
between
between the whole
Yeah.
pot.
I'm
And you don't taste it.
all right. So Machlek is very.
Vigid Amri b'may the balak there. And the other pshat is that it's what the heter was boileya. So let's think about this for a second. Let's say you started out with 60 kazaisim in your pot, and you started boiling the pot. Right? You have 60 kazaisim. You're making a soup, a chicken soup, all kosher, and it's on the flame for 2 hours, and it went from 60 kazaisim to 50 kazaisim. Right? You measure it afterwards. So you tell yourself, besides everything that evaporated, you have about 10 kazaisim that went into your pot. So you want to use the 50 that are left in the pot, and the 10 that are in the walls of the pot, and you want to use those 60 against the 1 kazayis, nevela, or whatever, or milk that fell into your chicken soup. The only issue with that is that the milk itself, or the nevela itself that went in, you're viewing it after it cooked for 2 hours. So right now it's a kazayis, but you're really cheating, because on the one hand you're saying, oh, all the heter went into the walls, so you want to use the heter, the 10 kazayis that went into the walls. But what about the isser that went into the wall? It's not 1 kazayis, it's really 2 kazayis. 1 kazayis went into the wall. That's why it's almost impossible to use this kind of this method, because you don't really know how to measure it. Fine. Omer b'avo Omer b'yochanan. Kol isun shebatoira misharinon kilohim botzol v'kafloit. So if you remember in the Mishnah, we said that how do you measure flavor? You measure meat imparting flavor into turnips, and then we said that's halacha Moshe Sinai. And Rabbi Schoenberg said that's what we call today batel b'shishim. And over here the Gemara says there's another way to measure everything besides gid anasha, all other foods, and it's called batel. And kafloit is leek. So leek and onions are very sharp foods. If you could taste them, that means that it's there. That means it's usher. So how much is batzel v'kafle? So Tosfos over here says, in middle of Dibur Maskil, Kol Yisum Shabbat Torah, Tosfos points out, he says, Mashma de basar belefes have a shiure b'shishim. He says like Rabbi Schoenberg, that when the Mishnah says basar belefet, meat in turnips is shishim, but not this. This is a different shear. This batzel is something else. However, I saw here in Rabbeinu Gershom, it seems like he says that the batzel is 1 in 60. It seems like he's mechulik on Tosfos. It's not the lefet that is 1 in 60. It's the batzel that's 1 in 60. It almost makes more sense because the Gemara is saying all these surim of the Torah are batzel, and the gid nasha is turnips. And we know batzel b'shishim is on everything. Okay, fine. There's something stronger. I know this firsthand. I once had one of these stronger things. We were in a restaurant, Shallots, you were with me there. And my father-in-law started up with the waiter. He said, this is all you got? Give me something, sushi with some real hot, not like last time. So yeah, no problem. And he went and he got him, I forgot what it's called, but it has like 60,000 on the Calvin. There's a certain chart, like the craziest hot pepper.
That could kill someone.
It almost killed me. My father says, I didn't have. It's even worse than habanero. I don't know what it was. I think it was something else. I know habanero is, maybe look it up. It's like crazy. 60,000 stronger than habanero. Like something. I literally felt that somebody put a flame to my tongue and I couldn't get rid of it. There's nothing I could do to get rid of it But anyways, says the Gemara. So what are you talking about, batzel? What happened?
Nothing. Stories with the shver. That's all.
Yeah, the shver. Nothing about the shver. Ooh, I forgot a great one about my shviger. I got to tell you this is the shviger one. I had one yesterday and I don't know when it's going to come up. I got to tell you this, Mike. I had it prepared. Yesterday we were talking about facial recognition and simanim. So the Gemara says, one of the things the Gemara says over there is that if you tell your friend, Ploini Almoini has glasses and he's wearing a hat and this, he probably won't come up with him. But the facial recognition, if he recognizes him, he'll see him from a mile away. So my mother-in-law, this is advice with my mother-in-law. She was in a car wash in Chicago, and you know one of these moving car washes, you put the car onto the thing and it pulls you through like they have over here by the gas station. So she's sitting in there, all of a sudden the passenger door opens up, and an African-American guy sticks his hand in and snatches her purse and runs. And she's in the car wash, everything's spinning, water going. She can't do anything. She can't get out and run. So no, she waits until it comes out. She calls the police. And says, what did this guy look like? She starts describing the color of his skin. He's wearing a cap and he's wearing this leather jacket, this whole thing. So, okay, so they write it down.
It's wet.
No, yeah, it's a little wet. 5 minutes later, it's Ma'aseh Shahaya. They bring in a yeshiva bacher. Says, is this the guy? He's wearing a hat and a jacket. This is what you described. So this is simanim. So you go just based on simanim, you can be mamish way off.
Black?
He did, but that they didn't chap, that part. The hat and the jacket. They went down the block, they saw a guy with the hat and jacket. Fine. Racial, you can't, it's racial profiling. You can't. You have to be.
I'll tell you a story after a couple of yeshiva days.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
After,
I'm
it's okay.
Bye in the rabbi.
Hold on, did she say yes?
So where did you come up with this onion? There's something much stronger called hot pepper. You can't get rid of that flavor, and I'm telling you it's true. Even 1,000 against it. When it comes to Isser, there's nothing more than an onion and a leek. Why are you shaking your head?
What does that mean?
In the Isurim, you have Giranasha, you have this. Their flavor is never stronger than an onion, so there's no need for us to go all the way up to hot pepper. So Mendy is going to ask the kasha, but wait a minute, there's a pilpul that is asur, arla. You could take a pilpul and make it asur. What do you mean there's no isur in the Torah that's stronger than a pilpul? The pilpul itself could be asur. The answer is what? If it's arla.
Arla and pilpul?
Yeah, I think it's they have little bushes. I have them.
No arla and vegetables?
How do you know it's a vegetable? It grows on a little tree from year to year. A klai kerem. I don't know what. Klai kerem maybe. There are spices from trees. So the answer is that the spice itself, this pilpul, the spice itself is not asur. you added a isser to it called
Right.
Masha'enking, the gid and nosh, it itself is asr. Chazir is asr. The isurim that we're talking about are things that be'etzem asr. Omer of Nachman, gid b'shishim, ben gid min minyan. Obviously, Rav Nachman says the obvious, but the chiddush is in a second. If you want to be mevatel a gid in 60, so you need 60 pieces of meat, again kosher meat, against the one. So how many pieces do you have total? 61. 60 against the one. Kechal, and here's the amazing chiddush. Kechal, what's a kechal? Udder. Who was there last night? So we have here the amazing picture. Favaz, but here he is holding up the udder, and he sliced it. I didn't know what he was doing because I was busy taking the picture. I was shashis ve'erev, and you have to show because people used to be not makpid in milk, and if anybody wants to taste basar b'chalav, you do this. Okay, fine. So the kchal, here's the crazy chiddush. Ukchal b'shishim ukchal min amin. What's going on here? Kchal itself, this piece of meat, is it mutter to eat? It has milk in it. Is it mutter to eat? The answer is yes, without the milk. Squeeze out the milk, and it's just a regular piece of meat. Milk that you have inside the kchal, that you didn't milk before the animal died. The milk was there from after shechita. Is it mutter to drink? Yes. In the rabbanon. So now you cook this milk in the kchal, and it's a problematic milk. It's midrabanan also. So what do? You need to mevatel it with 60. Says the Gemara over here, I'm going to use this piece of meat in addition to 59 other pieces of meat to be mevatel the milk. I can use this as 1 out of 60.
It's not the meat that's also, it's the milk inside.
Exactly, it's not the meat that's also. Oh, so you think everything is good up until this point. But here comes the big chiddush.
Can you clarify that? Are you allowed to be mevatel something afterwards? Are you talking about the...
Not lechatchila. You cooked it by mistake. You cooked it by mistake. Yeah.
Oh, if there is 60.
Beitzah b'shishim. We're going to talk about the beitzim later tomorrow. Ve'ein beitzah min minyan. So again, an egg is the same thing as a gid. You need 60 times. It's not one of the 60. The kchal itself, you're not allowed to eat. Why can't you eat it? Because you started cooking the kchal with the milk, so the meat imparted flavor into the milk. Bekitzer, it's also to eat. Maybe because people say, maybe it's exaggerated, but I thought it's more like it started cooking. I saw two things, and I'm a little confused today. But Akopanim, it's also to eat the kchal itself. And here's a big chiddush. On the one hand, I can use my kchal to be mevatel the milk. So the kchal goes in the category of mutter meat. It's 1 out of the 60 mutter pieces. Kosher pieces, you said. But it itself is asur. It itself is not a good piece of meat. Omer Avashi, Kavinum Beirav Kahani Boilon, Kimisharinon, Bididei Misharinon. Do we look at the kchal, at the whole udder itself, the whole meat? Or do we look at the 3 ounces of milk that's inside it? Do I need 60 times 3 ounces or 60 times 1 pound of kchal? Of course, I have to go at the whole udder. If I go by the milk, I have no idea how much milk is inside. So anytime you don't know, so you have to say it's 100. That's how we look at it. So if I go based on the whole thing, then it itself shouldn't answer anything else. Don't ask me what the pshat is here for a second.
Because we already got mutter already.
Okay. But he said that the kchal itself is asur. So he says it's incredible what's going on here. The kchal itself is an nevela. Halachically, we look at it as an nevela because it became asur as an nevela. Yet this nevela is mitzdaref to 59 kosher pieces to outdo the milk, and the milk becomes kosher. Have a wonderful day.
What do you mean? Once it becomes mutter, then that's it.
But it's asur. But it's an nevela.
Yeah, but it was
That right.
So now it's fine. It was part of
that becomes also that you're right.